Could you describe maybe a success, either recently or not recently, that your nonprofit has had?
Well, I certainly can. In fact, I can do more than that. I can give you a couple. So we're not that old, I should say. First of all, we were incorporated on October 1st, 2015. So we've just passed our second anniversary, heading
Happy
towards,
anniversary.
thank you. And our first event, our inaugural event, was that art exhibition that I talked about, and it was a phenomenal success. And it, unbeknownst to me, it brought together, I shouldn't say unbeknownst. When I started out, I wasn't planning on this, but it just sort of naturally happened that we had 3 of our 6 strategic focus areas come together in that art exhibition. The exhibition itself was the arts. We had STEAM because we invited educators from the United States, K through 12 educators, to come to Paris to learn how to integrate arts into the teaching of science and technology and math. And so that was a STEAM project. And then we had, for travel and study abroad, we had students come from the University of Arizona to create a digital app that worked with about half of the paintings and works on paper that were shown in this exhibition. So they came here. This is technology married with art, and also study abroad. And as I, it just sort of,
Wow.
people would just sort of, you tell somebody what you're doing, they're like, oh, well, how about this? And I'm thinking, that's a great idea. Why don't you come on, let's partner, let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out that this event, which was fabulously successful, incorporated 3 of our 6 strategic focus areas, and without any effort.
Wow. What a great opportunity for those students.
Yes, and I am really proud to say that of those university students, there were only 6 of them, plus their professor who came. 5 out of 6 of them traveled out of the country for the first time to do this project.
Wow. So yeah, not just the opportunity to work with a foundation like in a real-time setting and create an app and have it be real time, but to travel to France to do it. I mean, that's a win, win, win.
A win, 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 yes,
Wow,
yes,
that's
yes.
great. That's really interesting. What was another success you'd had? You said you had a couple to talk about.
Oh, yeah, okay. So out of that art exhibition, all kinds of things have popped up. And, well, the one that's really, really, it's like right now and is going to be, if all goes well, it will be a multiple year project, is a connection between a Paris elementary school and a Knoxville elementary school. Buford Delaney was born in Knoxville, Tennessee. He expatriated to Paris in 1953 and he died here in 1979. So that was the artist whose work we showed. So we're connecting children from an elementary school in Paris, and that elementary school is actually located in the neighborhood where Buford Delaney's last studio was located.
Wow.
And so that was his neighborhood, with an elementary school in Knoxville, Tennessee, which is where he was born and where he lived until he was in his early 20s. And this project is called Class Duo, Paris, Knoxville, and the children have met each other through video conference, and we have video conferences, and in between the video conferences, they're doing art. And during the video conferences, they show their art and they talk to each other. They're learning a new language. So the French kids are learning how to speak English, and the English kids are learning how to speak French. And they are learning about this man and about the things that were important to him. And they're learning about art as well through doing their own arts. Based on his life story and elements of his life. So that's
Wow.
incredible. Yes. And for literacy, we are partnering with the Houston Public Library. We did a readathon in Houston last June called People and Pajamas, where kids came to this neighborhood branch, the neighborhood branch where I actually grew up reading. And adults read to children all day. And the children got to take home books. So not to borrow books, but actually they were given books to take home to start home libraries.
Oh, wow.
And parents came also, so the parents could see how their children reacted to having adults read to them aloud. And this was to encourage parents to read to their kids at home. And all of this was done in the summer to prevent what they call summer slide. I don't know if you've heard of that, but that's when if you don't do any sort of, intellectual or, educational activity over the summer, kids will lose ground and they will go into their next grade sort of behind.
Their brains get a little mushy.
Yeah. And so in this particular neighborhood, it's really, it's a big problem.
Mm-hmm.
And so this whole effort was to prevent summer slide and do all of these other things. And the event was so successful that we are partnering with the library to do a 24-hour readathon
Oh,
this year.
wow.
Yeah, I'm very
Wow.
excited about that. And then the last thing I want to say, just for successful events, is that for women's empowerment, we've done two retreats in Paris, one in 2016 and one in 2017, for women leaders around the theme of leadership, communication, and creativity. And these women come together. They're very successful women, and they're bringing to the table a particular challenge that they have with regard to their leadership. Women leaders can really be very isolated, and they can even feel lonely because when they reach a certain level, there just aren't many people around them like
Mm-hmm.
themselves, and they sometimes feel perhaps even a little bit anxious about sharing some of their concerns and fears with people, um,
That they're
in their
trying to lead.
organization, or well, no, well, or people who are their peers but who are men,
Right.
because
Then it can feel intimidating, like it's showing a vulnerability that maybe I shouldn't be in this position because I have questions about this, which isn't true, but it's a valid fear.
it is. It can be that kind of fear, or it can be a fear of, well, I know I'm as good as all of these guys, but if I show that I'm vulnerable, they might try to use that against me, or I might not get that next promotion or
Right.
whatever. There are all kinds of things that go into that. But in any event, we've had two um, retreats about leadership and how you can become a better leader by looking at how you communicate and how your creativity can help you to frame your communications so that they really give you the results that you want. And so we've I just can't tell you how excited I am about all of that. And
Right.
yeah, it's just fantastic. And we're going to be doing an International Women's Day event here in 2019, to sort of expand the um, the work that we're doing with women leaders.